Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yachodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yachodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yachodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Vishwapad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotra Sadashri Srimad Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th canto, chapter 11. Lord Ramachandra rules the world, text 23. Please repeat. Purushaha Ramacharitam Shravanaihi Upadharayan Andrasamya Paraha Rajan karma bandaihi vimuchyate Purusho Ramacharitam Shravanairupadharayan Andrishamshaya Paro Rajan Karma Bandair Vimukshate Purusho Rajacharitam Ram Shravanairupadharayan Andrishamshaya Paro Rajan Karma Bandair Vimuchyate Purusho Ramacharitam Shravanairvupadharayan Andrisamshaya Paro Rajan Karma Bandair Vimuchyate Purusho Ramacharitam Shravanairvupadharayan Andrisamshaya Paro Rajan Karma Bandair Vimuchyate Purusho Ramacharitam Shravanairvupadharayan Andrisamshaya Paro Rajan Karma Bandhair Vimuchyate. Purushaha, any person. Ramacharitam, the narration concerning the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramachandra. Shravanahi, by oral reception. Upadharayan, simply by this process of hearing. Andrisamshaya Paraha, becomes completely free from envy. Rajan, O King Parikshit. Karma Bandaihi, by the bondage of fruitive activities. Vimuchyate, one becomes liberated. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. O King Parikshit, anyone who orally receives the narrations concerning the characteristics of Lord Ramachandra's pastimes will ultimately be free from the disease of envy and thus be liberated from the bondage of fruitive activities. Purport. Here in this material world, everyone is envious of someone else. Even in religious life, it is sometimes found that if one devotee has advanced in spiritual activities, other devotees are envious of him. Such envious devotees are not completely freed from bondage of birth and death. As long as one is not completely free from the cause of birth and death, one cannot enter the Sanatana Dharma or the eternal pastimes of the Lord. One becomes envious because of being influenced by the designation of the body. But the liberated devotee has nothing to do with the body, and therefore he is completely on the transcendental platform. A devotee is never envious of anyone, even his enemy, because the devotee knows that the Lord is his supreme protector. He thinks, what harm can the so-called enemy do? Thus a devotee is confident about his protection. The Lord says, Ye tamam prapatyate tam stadaiva pajamaham. According to the proportion of one's surrender unto me, I respond accordingly. A devotee must therefore be completely free from envy, especially of other devotees. To envy other devotees is a great offense, Vaishnava aparadha. A devotee who constantly engages in hearing and chanting Shravana Kirtana is certainly free from the disease of envy. And thus, he becomes eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swami iti namine. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So one more time, I just read the verse and translation. Purusho Ramacharitam Shravanhair Upadharayan Anrasamshay Paro Rajan Karma Bandhair Vimuchyate. O King Parikshit, anyone who orally receives the narrations concerning the characteristics of Lord Ramachandra's pastimes will ultimately be free from the disease of envy and thus be liberated from the bondage of fruitive activities. So here we hear the great benediction for the conditioned souls to get out of this heavy disease which is called envy. Prabhupada says here this envy is a disease. Prabhupada very often used to quote Janika Pandit that the fire, death and disease, this should be immediately should solve the issues. You can't wait when fire catches burning. You can't wait, let me think, let me do it tomorrow, You can't, you have to do it immediately. So like that, this death and disease, these things, as soon as possible, we have to find the solution. We have to, get out of it. So, for that, according to Ayurveda, we have to find out what is the root cause of this disease. Why this disease? If you go to any Ayurvedic doctor, not like these modern doctors, immediately they give you a painkiller and then, send you out and charge you so much money. But traditionally, Ayurveda doctors, they find out the root cause of your disease and then try to cure. It may take a little more time, but they try to cure fully from that disease. So similarly, if you see that what is this envy? Prabhupada says here in the purport that what is that? One becomes envious because of being influenced by the designation of the body. This is the root cause. So when we identify ourselves with this body as a engineer or doctor or Indian or American or any of these designation, then we see someone else as my enemy. Then immediately the envious comes. And in another place, Prabhupada say that envy means to interfering others' right, like Prabhupada gives example, like cows, they have rights to live. But today, because of people are so envious, they don't like to see the cows are living, and they just kill, interfering their rights. So like that, the reason why someone is envious, basically they identify with this body, means they think, I'm here, this body is, is everything, and I'm here to enjoy. That's the root cause. I'm the enjoyer. So if anyone is greater than me, anyone is better than me, anyone is more knowledgeable, more powerful, more greater than me, immediately he enjoys more than me. So I become envious of him. That's the reason. So Srila Prabhupada very often quotes that the last snare of Maya, the Mayavadis, they want to become merged with the Lord. They want to become Lord. Why? Because they try materially to become great scientist, great philosopher, great, in everything, great family man, great this, great that, in everything they try to become greater, and then ultimately they are not happy, and they think, okay, none of this thing are giving me happiness, so let me become a god. That is the greatest position. Then I can enjoy. So actually, the living entity, we all know from Bhagavad Gita that two reasons why we all came to this material world. Icha, Dvesha, Samadvena, Dvanda, Mokhena, Bharat. That Icha and Dvesha means the desire and hate. Desire to enjoy, and they hate the Lord. Envy of the Lord, because He is in the spiritual world, He is in the center, and He is enjoying everything. When the Jiva says that, oh, why I should not enjoy? Some subtle desire, immediately we all in this material world. Because Lord is fulfilling our desire, and we are here. So this is the root cause of our envy. We can't accept someone is greater than us, because we can't enjoy like him. As soon as we see the people, become so envy, if neighbor builds a little bigger house than him, if he purchases a little bigger car than him, immediately the competition, you can see people immediately, if neighbor purchases big TV, and then at least 1 inch bigger than that, we should purchase. The wife comes and pushes. So these things always is there. The competition is there. So, and this envy is one quality which can't really engage, even in devotional service. We can engage like anger, greed, all this. Even though is bad quality, is, not good. Even among karmis, they accept this point. But even those qualities can be engaged, like Hanuman, Arjun, they were angry when they were fighting. Very famous example Prabhupada always gives. So even this quality we can engage, but except this envy. This envy we can't really engage. This is really very bad, because this envy, this quality is destroys ourselves and disturbs others unnecessarily. It's just simply cause of distraction. And we see in the scripture there are so many examples by how these envious people destroy themselves, and they disturb unnecessarily others. In Bhagavatam, especially, there are many, many leelas. One immediately, you can remember that Daksha, he is expert, he is very, powerful person, he is Prajapati, he is a very knowledgeable person, but still, in spite of this, because he is envious of Lord Shiva, ultimately he, destroy his own life because of false prestige, because of he was thinking, I'm great, Lord Shiva is my son-in-law, and he was identifying with body. So, I'm proud of his possession, and he became envious. And we see also sometimes even like Lord Indra, even though he is a demigod, even though he is, great position, he is Lord of heavenly planets, but still he also becomes envious very often. If anybody becomes, very austere, if they perform some severe austerity, and then he becomes envy. That Vishwamitra, when he was performing very severe austerity, and then he became envy, he sent the Menaka, and many, many incidents like that. And then we see all the demons, of course, they are all envious. Hiranyakashipu, he was envious. Kamsa, he was envious. And we see when they become envious, they ready to kill even their very, very close family relatives, the blood relation, the own son, own sister. Kamsa he was so affectionate to his own sister, and just, he became a charioteer, and he was driving a chariot after the marriage, and as soon as this Ashariri, the sound he heard, that the son of Devaki is going to kill him, immediately he was ready to kill his own sister. Immediately. Same thing we see the Hiranyakashipu also. When children, when they are in trouble, they immediately will run to take shelter of parents. Always. We all have experience. Whenever we have any trouble, we take shelter of parents. And if your own father is troublemaking and he wants to kill you, then where to take shelter? But fortunately, Prahlad, heard from Narada Muni, and he knew where to take shelter, who is ultimate shelter. As Prabhupada mentioned here, the devotee, they knew the Lord is Rakshati iti Vishwasho. They have full faith, the Lord will protect me. So nobody can harm me. No enemy can harm me. That is the faith of devotees. So, in another incident in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela also, you see that Ramchandra Khan, he was envious of Haridas Thakur. He couldn't tolerate. He see that Haridas Thakur was respected so much, and everyone was, offering pranams to him. Everyone is so much respecting him. And he becomes so envious, and he wants to dishonor Haridas Thakur. But finally, he also finished his own life, And then there is Gopala Chapala, also become envious of Srivas Thakur. And then soon he got reaction for that. And he got leprosy and, whole body the blood was oozing and so like that there are many examples in the Bhagavatam and other literatures. We can see that people, when they are envious, they are not doing anything good for anybody, either themselves or others. They always just simply disturbance and cause of their own destruction. So therefore, this envy, this quality is not at all good. It's especially when we practice devotional service. Prabhupada repeats in this purport, especially devotees, if they are envious, it's not at all good. When we come to Krishna consciousness, we should understand that we are not this body, none of this identification is true. We are all servant of Krishna. That we should understand. Why? Because Prabhupada speaks in this purport, because we know, and the history of our this Gaudiya Vaishnavism, in Prabhupada's time when he went to West for preaching, and he was alone struggling there, and he wrote letter to some of his god brothers to get some help. Please send one brahmachari or some mridanga at least for preaching. Any help he was trying to get, but no one was trying to help. No one even tried. And not only that, they were discouraging Prabhupada always. They, some of them are so envious, they were so much criticizing Prabhupada. So there is a letter, a room conversation. I just read, for example, for one incident Prabhupada speaking. Prabhupada say, there are similarly men also unnecessarily they are envious, offensive, unnecessary. They cannot tolerate others' opulence, just like our god brothers. They are envious. What I have done to them? I am doing my business, trying to serve my Guru Maharaj, but they are envious because I am so opulent. I have got so much fame, so many influence, so much influence, all over the world. Everyone is praising me, but this is ignorance, and this is regrettable, because they are posing themselves as Vaishnava. Ordinary man can do that, but they are dressing like a Vaishnava, and they are so envious, unnecessary. That Tirtha Maharaj, unnecessarily, he was envious. Whole life fighting in the court and died. His own experience, he's, seeing, and we see, is shown in the, and we see also in our own life when we practice, we see sometimes the devotees just quarrel, they fight, and they just can't tolerate for small thing. I can tell you one example now. Recently, I saw that this Bhakti Shastra course is running, and one Mataji can't write much. She's very slow. She's not much educated. And she requested me one exam that, Prabhuji, there are a lot of things to write. Because I'm asking someone else to help to write. And I have to tell, then she has to write, and then, it takes a little more time. Can I take a little extra time? I approve, okay. It's reasonable. It's not that, something I favor her extraordinarily, something. I say, okay. And then immediately, 2-3 other Mataji can't tolerate. Immediately, so much commotion, so much commotion. Just, they can't take prasadam, they can't sleep. They just, whole day they were so much in tension. And next day morning I come for class and then they all waiting, 3 of them, they're waiting in the front of the, room, Prabhuji, one doubt. I was so happy. Oh, finally somebody has some doubt, some question is going to ask. But what she asked, then immediately, yesterday these Mataji, took extra time, so much, 45 minutes. It was not 45 minutes, obviously, because I knew, but 45 minutes, she took extra time, and this is not fair. This is, I told her, sorry, this is, you're just simply envious, of this Mataji, or you think I'm doing something, not good. You think I'm partial to somebody and not giving time to others. If you would ask, I also give you. In same exam, another Mataji online, she asked, Prabhuji, I have some eyesight problem. My specs, is broken. I can't really see. I have to take little extra time, Okay, I say, take 10 more minutes. So I'm giving, if anybody asks, you did not ask, and your exam is not disturbed because of that, and you wrote to your exam, you got your mark. Why you become so disturbed for that? So like this, for small thing, if you really analyze what is the value of all this, so much disturbance, so much, burning, whole day thinking of that, and so dare. I told her that if I am a student, I won't be dare to ask my teacher for this thing at all. I will hesitate. I will think twice, thrice, to whether is it worthy to, speak to the teacher this, But because it's that the envious nature is so strong, and they can't, tolerate small thing. So therefore, this envy is just disturbs. Is just disturbed. You can't really do service. You can't really think of Krishna. You can't really chant holy name. You can't really, be with the devotees if you are envious. Even if you are among devotees, always the mind is so disturbed, and you can't really take satsanga. So therefore, this Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita several places, this envy is not good. And who are not envious, and he praise them, and he, says they are very dear to me. For example, in 16th chapter, he says, Tanaham tushita kruran samsareshu naradhama. In this verse, he says, those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life. So if someone is envious, Krishna says they will, go to hell. And we see also there many times Prabhupada always, whenever opportunity comes about Mayavadis, Prabhupada's quotes it is immediately from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that because Mayavadis, they are envious of Krishna, so we should not hear from them. Mayavadi Bhashyashonli, what's that? Mayavada Bhashyashonli, Sunya Sarvanas. So this everything will be destroyed if we hear from Mayavadis, because they are envious of Krishna. So Prabhupada also says in one purport that there are many persons who envy Krishna because he has explained in Bhagavad Gita that he is supreme and that nothing above him or equal to him. Mata parataram nanyat, Krishna says. So, because of that, people can't tolerate, how somebody else can be greater than me. There are many persons who are envious of Krishna. Such persons should not told of Bhagavad Gita. So they cannot understand. So they are faithless persons. They are not able to understand. So now someone, Prabhupada actually in one of his purport, not Prabhupada purport, this is 11th canto, but anyway, in the Bhagavatam, in the purport, there is a question raised, when after hearing all the Krishna's pastimes, someone may raise the question that Krishna also is killing so many Putana, Trinavrata, and so many demons. So means Krishna is envious. He is envy of somebody, so he is killing. No, it's not. Krishna is not envious of anyone. He is killing someone to benefit them. That is very difficult for ordinary people to understand. But we know from the scripture, from Bhagavatam and all that, when Krishna kills someone and they get purified and they get liberation. We know from the Putana when she was killed, because Krishna's transcendental body touched her body, and her body become very fragrant and become pure, and she got liberated. So similarly, other demons also, they got benefited. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says also that Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshasthana priya. Dvesha. I am not envy of anybody. Krishna very clearly says. Why? Because no one is greater than him. He is the greatest. He is the supreme in everything. Why he is envy of someone? He is only the supreme controller. Ekala Ishvara Krishna or Sabha Bhritya. He is only the supreme controller, and everybody is controlled by him. Everyone is servant of him. Then why he is going to be envious? And moreover, he is Sukritam Sarva Bhutanam. He is the well-wisher of all the living entities. And he is most compassionate. If you are compassionate, and you cannot be envy at the same time. So therefore, devotees always, they develop this quality of compassion, and they don't become envy of anybody, the real devotee, the serious devotees. And being non-envious, you become very dear to Krishna. Krishna says several places, Idam tute kuhyatamam prabhaksham anusuyave jnanam vijnana sakitam yajnatva moksha sheshabhat. He says that because you are not envious of me, and I am giving this most confidential knowledge, and by this knowledge you can get out of this material existence. Moksha sheshubha. And adveshta sarva bhutana maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirhankara samaduga shukakshami. Adveshta. Because you are not envious, and you are kind friend to everyone, and you are very dear to me, Krishna says. Also in the 18th chapter, Shraddhavan anusuyascha shunyatapiyo naraha sopi mukta subhalokan prapnuyat punya karmanam. One who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reaction and attains to the planets where the pious dwell. So, being non-envious and especially devoted to Krishna, and you become very dear to him. Krishna likes those people. Especially devotees should be very careful, as Prabhupada says in this purport, that among devotees, when we practice Krishna consciousness, especially to our Guru, Acharyas, should not develop this envy. That's very, very dangerous. It's a great offense. Srila Prabhupada says in one of Bhagavatam lecture, do not neglect Acharya, na martya buddhya. Don't consider him as ordinary human being. If he sometimes chastises you, don't be envious. Oh, he's also man, I also man. Why he is taking like that? So don't become envious like that. Prabhupada say. These are all instruction. The Guru instruct you, and then you become benefited by that. If he chastises you, immediately don't become envious. Don't think that, who is he to chastise me? And sometimes we see the devotees, they don't like to chastise by seniors or from Guru, from their authority. Immediately they become so angry, so envy, and they started to put unnecessarily some blame and then, put some complaint. So many things happens. Ultimately, those people disappear after some time from the association of devotee because they offend Vaishnavas. The Vaishnava aparata is the most dangerous aparata. It's like mad elephant, is compared to the mad elephant. It enters into the garden and destroys everything. Nothing can remain there. So, this Bhakti Lata is completely destroyed when the mad elephant enters. So therefore, we have to be very careful. We should avoid this asasanga, because today this modern society is very much encouraging, promoting to be pride, to be proud of their position, their so-called knowledge, so-called power and all. So naturally people develop this envy. It is very much encouraged instead of discouraging to become envy. And it's so unfortunate, they so much encourage this. Like these students, when they go to school, these small children, they 5th standard, 6th standard children, they become school first or state first. Immediately they put big photo, big banner in the city and the school, everywhere, and they put their name, photo, and they become so proud of it, and they so puffed up, and they become so envious of all other students. And so foolish this modern society, they don't know this. When they promote to become so proud of their position, their power, their knowledge, it's going to destroy themselves also and others also. The people who are promoting this, they are also going to be disturbed by this. They are also going to be victim of this problem, and they don't understand. So, therefore, at least as we practice in our Krishna conscious, we should have proper understanding that there is not necessary, this envy at all, not necessary. We don't have to envy anybody because we all individual souls. We are all have our individuality, and we all have in the spiritual world with Krishna very unique relationship that nobody can, replace that. And no one is going to occupy your place. That is, if you have that understanding, that unique relationship with Krishna, forever you can have. And that understanding, helps you to get out of this envy. As soon as you have this understanding, then if you think, any time when you get disturbed, you become envy. If you little bit you think of that, and then immediately you just free from that envy. Otherwise, it's all the time this competition. This material world is always is competing. Competition means actually that nobody is really trying to come up. Everybody is trying to pull down the whoever is trying little bit, That's the most big competition, that who is pulling more down others. That's the big competition. Instead of to come up. So the real solution actually in the verse itself is given here, that anyone orally receives the narrations, hear the Supreme Lord's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila, and then they can get purified. They can really get out of this quality of envy. Because the Lord is, so pure. He is Pavitram. He is completely pure. Srimad Sakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. We hear from Bhagavatam that by hearing the Harikatha, holy name, is purify us, and then we get out of all this kama, krodha, moha, mada, matsarya, all the bad qualities. That the only solution, especially now in this Kali Yuga, the Supreme Lord, He Himself appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and spread this chanting Sankirtana process. He is so merciful. He is most merciful incarnation. Namo Mahavatanyaya Krishna Prema Prathayate. Without looking for any, quality, He just, without even the most fallen souls, they can get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by taking up this chanting holy name. So this is such a great process, and we see Srila Prabhupada started among these hippies and this movement, and in the beginning, even though the most fallen souls they were, but still they got purified, and slowly this movement spread everywhere now. All kinds of people taking up this Krishna conscious is proves this is so powerful, is so much is purifying. So, and also devotees start to appreciate other devotees' good qualities, their service, and that will help us not become envy. Instead of finding fault, better find something good in him. There was an incident like somebody always coming and complaining about one particular devotee to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And he is lazy, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, so many things. And he replied, "Oh, you see, he's always wearing very clean cloth." Just that was his reply. He could find one good thing. He's wearing always very clean cloth. And so many bad things everybody else finds. So better to develop that kind of quality. Then, naturally we can give up this envy. And of course, the powerful, the best way here, Harikatha, being with devotees and hearing more and more, and it helps. And we all have experience. More we hear, more, we get realization that we are getting purified. Okay, Hare Krishna. I stop here. Anything to add? Any comment, question?
Normally, when this envy topic comes, we say Krishna is not envious, not supremely equal to everyone. Just remember one incident when Madhudvish Prabhu got initiated. So then later he went to Prabhupada and he was asking Prabhupada, what is the meaning of Madhudvisha? And Prabhupada said, Dvisha means envy and Madhu, the demon Madhu. So a person who is envious of demon,
Yeah. Yeah.
how Krishna could be envious of someone, Prabhupada? It is not possible. Krishna is equal. And Prabhupada is saying, no, Krishna can be envious too, but his envy is in perfect form.
Yeah. Nice.
Similar example of Damodar Leela where Krishna doesn't get attention from Yashoda Maya because all the attention is given to the boiling milk. And there he's kind of envious that I want that attention. So same with perfect. Because he has the attention.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Okay.
Prayer, Krishna Savana Goswami, he says, Vaihunya Pita Kalitam, Vaishunya Pranapititam, Dainya Name Nimagnotam, Chaitanya Vaidyanashri. He says that I am actually suffering from germs of material infection, material desires, and also Vaishunya, he says that I am suffering from boils of envy. So with great humility, I take shelter of Lord Chaitanya, who is the Vaidya. Further he says that that's why he gives the process of chanting, hearing, and so sort of nice verse which is
Yeah.
the solution is as it is said here that for the disease of envy, taking shelter of holy names, serving devotees, chanting, that's the process.
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.